Oh yeah, look at that. It's got face tracking going. You
Yes.
got it. You got it. Okay. Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm proposing a question. Is cycling woke enough? And here's my answer. Last summer I was listening to the Trainer Road podcast and they discussed how they were addressing racial inequality and supporting Black Lives Matter. I was a little surprised by this. It seemed like the Black Lives Matter movement was everywhere and with no middle ground. People either just love it or hate it. And it was like becoming involved in everything. A knee-jerk reaction, you could say, hey, I don't listen to this podcast for your social justice opinions and updates. But honestly, one of my favorite parts about that podcast is just how open they are about all the different aspects of running a company and the different things that they do. So I thought it was cool. Since the fastest growing segment of cycling is gravel cycling, it just kind of makes sense at getting the most attention from the social justice crowd. The Land Run 100 and the Dirty Kanza, or Kanza, depending on how you say that, they've both been forced, well, I don't know about forced is the right word, but they've both changed their names. They had unique names about, local history, kind of inspired by the land where you rode, and now they have these really corporate speak, bland, boring names, like the Land Run became the Mid-South. It's in Oklahoma, it's the Mid-South. I don't even get that. And then Dirty Kanza became Unbound Gravel, which to me is just like very generic. It doesn't have anything to do with Kansas or anything to do with all that. Were these names offensive though? To some people they were. If you look through those indigenous people, that Land Run could be seen as a celebration of the fact that the white settlers had an actual land run to steal the indigenous people's lands. And while Dirty Kanza could easily have been said, oh, it's the dirt. Dirty is a good word for us because we get dirty when we ride on gravel and we think it's awesome. And Kanza is the land, it's not really the people. Still, it's kind of the same thing almost as saying dirty Indian to some people, even though I don't think that was anywhere near the point. The thing was, that was kind of the point of gravel racing. Gravel racing and gravel riding, it started as a joke. No one's better at sucking the fun out of cycling than bike racers. And gravel was a response to this. The UCI was coming up with sock length limits, and stupid rules about how what parts could be on bikes, what parts couldn't be on bikes. And gravel racers were just like, here's the course, the first person to finish wins, let's give it a funny name so people will show up and have a good time. And that's what we did when we created the Dirty South into 2020 or 2012. It was the exact same, Gravel racing is not a joke anymore, though. The races are huge. They sell out. They're being bought up by corporations and making a lot of money, and it's driving the sport. And so when that happens, there's not a lot of room for funny names that some people maybe find offensive. So sadly, success brings the spotlight, and the spotlight brings change. I started buying Velo news again. It's been years since I've bought any magazines. But I want to support the bike industry, and I've always liked Velo News. I really like the cover of the spring 2021 issue. It's a great photo of an excellent color scheme. I just really like the photo, and it's a black woman riding a gravel bike. And I was like, well, that's really cool. You don't see that every day. Well, it turns out this woman is Devin Cowens. She's not a racer, and in fact, according to Strava, which she may not Strava as much as me, but according to Strava, I ride about 3 times more than her. And so it's not really her riding necessarily that got her on the cover of Velo News. It's her work as an advocate for BIPOC and FTW people to get started cycling. And I've never heard of either one of those terms before I read this article, and I listen to a lot of NPR, so you would think I would know stuff like that. But BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and FTW is femme, trans, and women. And so, my point here, woke is a loaded term. And right from the beginning, your opinion is just going to be which side of the culture war you happen to fall on, the day of the week. But that was my original question, is cycling woke enough? And Devin is undoubtedly woke. She's one of those people that announces her preferred pronouns, the first thing when she meets you. She's up in all this current acronyms like BIPOC, and you know, it's so easy to look at this as a complete nonsense. You know, these crazy acronyms coming up for, like, it seems like just more ways to say the same thing. And I think you could make a strong argument that some of this wokeness may do as much harm as good to the overall mission. But I'm not really a person to judge. That's for somebody else to say. I think, to simplify it down to layman's terms, Devin's core message seems to be that we need more black people and more women riding bikes. And that's just a message I can get behind 100%. I mean, I want more people of every nationality, every color, every type of person to be able to get out and ride bikes and have fun doing it. And that means putting people like her and the Williams brothers on the cover of magazines, to get role models out there, to show people, hey, you wouldn't be the only one. There's other people doing this. It means covering their events, getting coverage out there, awareness and coverage. And it means working with partners to lower the barriers to entry, like equipment. It's expensive. Sponsorships, free event entries. Why not? You know, what harm is it going to do? I mean, think of all the millions of dollars that Specialized gives to Peter Sagan, and he's not even winning races right now. I mean, he got COVID, you know. Maybe it wouldn't take all that much money to sponsor a inclusive gravel team to go to some of these events, and maybe taking a little bit of Peter's money would make him perform a little better, you know. So anyway, that's my take. That's my answer. See ya. What'd you think?
Good job.